Well, welcome everybody to let's get this up here. I'll start that again. To Northern Ireland 40k podcast. This week we're going to run through the lists for Warzone Christmas. We're going to pick out the best because we tend to chat for about 4 or 5 hours when we do this, and nobody's going to be doing that tonight. So we'll get a couple of hours in, chat about these lists, and see what the crack is. So we've got with us this week a special guest. Bastion Gaming himself, Big Paul. What about you? Do you
The
want to
man with
introduce
many
yourself?
names.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, Paul from Boston Games. A lot of the guys locally know me. I've been more sort of prominent in the AOS scene, but I've jumped over into 40k now with the emergence of Ninth and fallen in with these head the balls. So yeah, great to be on. Cheers.
Nice one. Good man for jumping on. Make up the numbers. And then we've got Nate, who everybody knows, and Cal, who everybody knows. So, welcome, Cal. We were just shooting the shit to the stream there, waiting for you to join. Mal's going to join too, but I think we'll kick things off and start going into the lists. But before that, Nate was just talking about demons, and he was talking about the bat rep I linked there.
Yeah.
And I cut him off to start the recording. So sorry, pick it up.
No, I just find those lists really interesting. Like those keepers and the unkillable Lord of Change. Like it's such a unique way to play. You think big monsters and stuff just die instantly to eradicators, but in actual reality they don't. And then there's fiends, and then there's things that you can't fall back from, and then it just rules all the firepower like null and void basically. So it's such a unique way to play, and there's nothing really like them at the minute in the game. So I think it's pretty interesting.
Are you going by the Glasshammer Gaming? You going by there? We'll give them a wee shameless plug after Blood Kittens tried to kick them the other day in their article.
Seems
We'll
like
give them a wee shameless plug.
But the blood of kittens or whatever that is, that person's just out to get everyone. That's their thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I haven't actually watched that report yet against Knights, but I think we're a bit one-sided. Playing against Daniel, who's run something similar, and it's such a strange list to play against because when he puts it down on the board, you go to yourself, I can deal with that. That's okay. And then when you go in the combat with it or you start shooting at it, it's like, these cons won't die. I've now just spent 4 turns poking a great unclean one for the crack, or I've spent 3 turns poking the Lord of Change.
While Daniel's on his second bottle of vino.
No, but we played sober a couple times too. Like Nathan says, it's quite a strange list for the way that the meta is. So I mean, because there isn't anything really that does what it does. I suppose you could sort of say that the shield captain, that hard to kill 3-up M1 reroll, a free reroll, and a CP reroll to save with 9 wounds, is sort of in a similar category, but it doesn't pump out the mortal wounds, and then it doesn't hit in combat the way that this does. Even though they are good, don't get me wrong, but they're just not as good.
It's kind of a different role as well, isn't it? It sort of fulfills. It's almost a distraction Carnifex, where it just sort of turns up and looks massive and imposing, and you pump all the firepower in, you pump all your assaults in. You don't kill it, and then it regens wounds along with like other bits and pieces. And it's like and then it flies away and then just mortals you to death. So
And you've been ignoring all the scoring stuff in the interim.
Yeah, and then even if you do, like if it has like bloodletters or demonettes, if you like fire like one bolt gun at them because it was in range, if they roll a 1 because of the banner, D6 models come back, and it's like I shouldn't have even shot at them. it's quite weird and unique, but it's weird like that sort of play style. Like I played demons for like 2 years solid. Like that play style and that list technically shouldn't function very well.
Yeah.
But it does. But again, it's quite a high skill cap. You really need to get all your ducks in a row. for it to work. But yeah, I like it.
Nice.
Quack, quack.
Well, I think there's a Demons List at this competition, so shall we get stuck in?
Oh yeah, there's.
Yeah, let's
Alright.
get a nosy.
All right, who wants to take Buckley's list?
Well, I've played it, so I think so has Cahill. Don't know if you have.
I haven't
Have you
played
played
the
this
Melt the
game
Spam.
list?
Not the Melt the Spam.
Yeah, I played it too. As a bit of a test, but yeah, it's solid. It's fantastic.
Well, I'll read it out. I'll give the summary. So the first attachment is Valorous Heart, ignoring the AP. We've got Cannes, Missionary, some sisters with Stormbolters, 3 squads of 5, with 2 Stormbolters in each unit. We've got 2 units of Dominions with Melta throughout, 3 squads of Retributors, 2 with multi-meltas, 1 with heavy bolters, and another detachment, which is Bloody Rose, with a Smash Cannoness, Sally, Celestine, right? And then with Beacon of Faith, of course. Yep, and Sally's the Warlord. And 3 full blocks of Repentia and Zephyrim. So lots of choppy. That's a dirty list. That's a lot of multi-melta. Got a bit of DACA for the hordes. Yeah, it's balanced too. Celestine, what do you think?
It's actually a good choice because with the way he runs the army, what he does is he doesn't even use her as a beat stick or anything, which he could do. All he does is he puts him in the one of the other HQs. I've forgotten her name. Together, and they go up the board with the Repentia, giving them a 4-up inbone.
Is it the Image of Fire guy, or the guard?
No, the what do you call the just like a captain?
The Canoness.
Canoness. So those two go up the board together, sitting in behind them, and just give the Repentia 4-up inbone. And because he's got her, I think he gets an extra miracle dice per turn. So again, like that extra dice is now 5 extra dice over a game because you're not going to kill her. You do kill her, you're winning big anyway, so it doesn't really matter to him. Do you know what I mean? But that extra miracle dice really helps him out, which then, like I say, becomes 5 extra miracle dice over the space of a game. Yeah.
It's so hard.
What do you
I
think,
find it so. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Nate. Sorry, cutting over you.
He's not listening.
No, he's just like, oh, Paul spoke over me. I'm not gonna hurt his
Not even
feelings.
gonna justify a response there.
What were we
Sorry,
saying?
I was muted. It.
Oh, okay.
I didn't speak.
Go ahead there, Paul.
No, I was good. Go ahead, Paul. All right.
No, I find it's really difficult list to deal with because he's such a strong backboard presence with all the bodies. But he's got 8 multi-meltas, 8 melta guns, sort of with that long range support, and then he's got the 3 squads of Repentia that can just rush the board. And as Cahill says, if they're 4-up invulns, so you're having to deal with like so many different layers of threat mid-board and his backboard to try and sort of play the objective game. And then he's also got the Seraphim, which punish you really hard if you leave a gap, turns 2 or 3 at the back of the board. Any of your sort of light units or sort of small squads holding objectives are just going to get lifted. Even quite tough squads, those guys are left on the charge. The AP4 or something on the charge, is Seraphim?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they're really good at actually taking out like elite units. You put them into a squad of Terminators, put them into a squad of 5 Blade Guard, 5 Custodian Bikes. It's just they do so much damage. Yeah, and because they're on 25mm bases as well, if you're not careful with the way you space your stuff out and you sort of leave like an inch in between, they'll get into the character that's behind, or they'll they're just brutal.
That's it. The punishy that wee gap you leave, just good night.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What do you think? You were picking up a bit of sisters. What do you think if you were coming in that game?
I think that it's tight. It's the kind of list that I was chirping on about, before. I was like, drop the vehicles, get the girls' foot slogging up the table, especially with, at the time, the rumours about what was going to happen with the special weapons, which is just so good for sisters. And I just feel like the transition from 8th to 9th is this. You know, the list that he played at the last comp versus this. I do like firing in some of the vehicles, but I just don't think bringing 3 exorcists anymore is the way to go. I would consider, if I was writing this list, putting in some rhinos. I just like them for getting the Repentia into position, getting them to that big line of sight blocker in the middle, jump them out. And then they're going to, you know, by that time hopefully have the guaranteed advance and charges needed to do the plays that you want to do. That's my thinking. Screening or not, if people bring stuff to screen the table well, it doesn't matter when those girls are going to just be belting in. So yeah, like I think it's strong. He's well versed in the sisters. He's definitely one to watch at this tournament. Next up, we've got Adam with his white scars. So I'll let someone else take this one, and you can just ask me things if there's relics you don't know or whatever. So Nate, are you ready? Do you want to take this one?
Yeah, so Adam's list is a patrol. He's got a cannon bite, which is a captain. He's got the Rights of War warlord trait, which is obsec within 6 inches if your core unit is within 6 inches. Looks like he's got can spear. I can't remember the stats on that, but I think it's just basically a really big power sword, I think, isn't it? So he has the Primaris Chaplain on bike as well. So he has, what's he got? Has he upgraded him for the? No, he hasn't. So he's not the buff chaplain. He's more like another smash sort of captain. He's got a warlord trait, which is the Kogoran Storm,
which is D3 extra attacks.
Yeah. And the litanies that he's taken is Litany of Hate, Manta of Strength, and Benediction of Fury.
It's the disgusting damage Crucius, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like flat 4.
Yeah, flat 4 damage.
For his troops, he's got 5 assault intercessors. He's got a bike squad, a big bike squad. It looks like six bikes and 2 attack bikes. So that's just a big meaty bike squad that just goes forward along with the can. He's got an outrider squad, just 3 bikes, and then a second detachment is a vanguard detachment. He's taken 2 extra relics, and he has a can in this. He's got a Libyan Terminator armor, and he's got the Plume of the Plains Runner, and 2 powers are Ride the Winds and the Spirits of Chagorus. Yeah, the elites. Ancient and Terminator armor. He's been upgraded to a chapter ancient, so he has the relic banner, I believe, Banner of the Eagle.
That's +1 strength.
Yeah, so as I say, he's just buffing those big bricks basically, and you'll see what else he's buffering here as well, which is going to be pretty nasty on the table. You don't see too much of these. He's got a 5-man Blade Guard squad. Every Marine player needs one of those. And then he's got 10 Lightning Claw Terminators, which is nasty if it gets into you. So that'll obviously be buffed up with the Ancient and their core as well, so he can make them upset. His fast attack, he's got 3 ATVs and then another unit of Outriders. I like this list.
Yeah. So just one thing.
Really good.
You have Kizaru Khan, not a Canoness. Just the minor thing. But Spirits of Chagorus.
Same thing.
Hi. Spirits of Chagorus do the same thing. Spirits of Chagorus and Plume of the Plains Runner. So that's +2 on the advance, and that stacks with Plume of the Plains Runner, which is +1 on advance and +1 on charge when you're within 6 inches. So the Libby is really a speed booster in there. Oh, sorry, it's Ride the Winds is the +2 on the advance. The Spirits of Chorus I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's Ride the Winds. But yeah, speed booster, then getting Khan in there, +1 to wound once he's charged. I don't want to play this list. Like, I don't want to play any of these lists at all.
I think as we will go through the evening, are really, really good. There's nobody in there that you think, oh, Jesus, that's a soft touch. It was looking really fluffy when you seen the first bit, and it was like biker with melting on, cool. That's cool. He's got attack bikes again, cool. Outriders, cool. And then you go down to the 10, and then you come down to the 10 Terminators. And you go, what the fuck? Like, that's pretty. That's pretty beefy. What do you think about the 10 Terminators over the Vanguard Vets?
They're slower, but doesn't matter. When you're advancing and charging, you're able to deep strike them as well. Of course, you can combat squad them. They're 3 wounds. They're Terminators, so they've got the native invuln and the going to be running around with 1-up armor saves. I like them as a choice. They're strength 4, AP -2, 1 damage, becoming AP -3, 2 damage in the Assault Doctrine, re-rolling all wounds. Re-rolling all
re-roll
ones
wounds
to
is a
hit
killer,
if they're near Khan, and +1 to wound if Khan's in there with them. It's naughty. And like, I think it's something like against the T7 vehicle, if you're even strength 4 re-rolling wounds, you're doing 16 wounds with the block. So
it's the fact he's got that mix of because his foot sluggers are so fast and white scars, that he's got that screening ability with his bikes and his outriders, and they can set you up really well for a real bad counter punch if you're not careful. Like, would be a horrible counter punch.
Yeah,
I like it. I think it's cool.
I think it's cool too. And did we mention the dream meme here of Invader ATVs?
Yeah, he's not gonna apothecary though.
No, he doesn't have the apothecary. Oh well.
He's been fluffy. It's all fluff. All fluffy. Fluffy.
Well, he'll still have friends then. At the end of it. On that note, just before we jump to the next list, I want to ask. So we're not playing the WTC FAQ for this event, right? Mm-hmm. And that means AP modifiers when it comes to playing into the likes of Aaron's list here. So Aaron's list, there's going to be a lot of ignoring AP -1, Polished Heart and Tale of Stoic, and AP -2.
Yep.
So Doctrines are going to apply the AP modifier first.
Yep.
And then you determine what the stat line is of the weapon before it is
ignored or not.
Yeah. Versus, saying that if we were playing the WTC FAQ, that would be you've got a AP -2 Lightning Claw. They ignore the AP -2. Then you apply the Doctrine. They become AP -1 Lightning Claws. Still do damage. So in Adam's list, for example, if he was to play into the Sisters, those Lightning Claws are going to be going through at AP -3.
Yeah.
And Aaron was crying.
That's all well and
change.
good. That's all well and good, but they have a 4-up invuln, so they don't really give a fuck.
That's true. Well, it depends what you're going into, though, right? Or like how much is that 4-up invuln spreading across that army? Because I know you've got Sally. Is there the Canoness giving the invuln as well? So he's really spreading that. No, nice one. Makes sense. Right, next up we've got Demons. Nope, we've got Custodians.
Yeah, Demons. I agree.
Bastards.
I'll do this one. He has got a shield captain on Dawn Eagle Jetbike with Hurricane Bolters. All seeing an later. Auric Aquilus is the relic, which is the 3-up invuln and reroll charges, and he spent the stratagem for Victor Blood Games on him. He doesn't have to do that until the deployment. Just so you know that, David, you don't have to put that in your list. Secondly, Captain Trusian Valoris. Then he has got one squad of Guardians with Sentinel Blades and Storm Shields. 2 squads of 5 Terminators, Alaris. One squad of 5 bikes, 2 salvo launchers and 3 hurricane launchers, or hurricane bolters, sorry, and then 1 Talon Dreadnought with the storm cannon and the punchy thing. And he has given him eternal penament for -1 CP. I think this list is cool, but too slow. That's all.
You think so?
Yep, 100%.
Why?
It's like a train.
Yeah, but why? Well, so the Alaris, he could deep strike them into position if he wanted, or he could advance them turn 1. You know.
Right, so look at it this way, right? If you're playing that game, okay, and you start, say, both squads of Terminators off the board because you can, or a squad and Trajan off the board, you're left with 4 units, right? And depending on the board you get, you're not going to be able to hide the Talon, or you're not going to be able to hide the bikes. There is that possibility. And if you lose one of those in turn 1, that's massive, because then you've got another full turn before your Terminators come in and Trajan comes in.
He could also put the bikes, if he really couldn't hide them, you know, and he saw the table he was playing on, he could put them in with, and bring
He
it,
could
drop
put
it with Golden Light or whatever that one is, right?
Well, yeah, but you can only put 1,000 points in, right? So the TLR's Terminator squad's 700 points.
Yeah, so one of them, or you know, I'm not saying
Well, yeah,
like, I mean, I don't like putting anything in Deep Strike really. I'm reluctant reserver in
Yeah.
this edition, but like my shit moves, you know, 13 inches plus or -5 on that, so it's like yeah, I think that, like, I don't think that you need the termies. I know they're slow, right? When you say slow, are they not 6 inches still, the Custodes ones?
Yeah, but take out a squad of Terminators and put on a squad of bikes, and you're 14 inches. But that's just me personally.
Yeah, fair. I know.
We will come across.
Like,
We will come across a list. We will come across a list later on that is, this is possibly my favorite list in the whole thing. And he utilizes both. I've played against the Telema before with Tom, and if it gets in to do its job, it does its job very well. But the likelihood of you getting there with it is very slim. Do you know what I mean? So now there's a big heavy hitter away from the list, but people like to play with them because they've bought their Forge World Telemann, and
it's a good firing platform, and it is one of those things. It's like, it's very hard to shift, isn't it? It's like you're gonna you want people to be shooting it instead of your other stuff. If they're doing that, it's to your advantage, surely. But okay, well we'll power on then. Anything to add, Nate or Paul, on Custodes list number 1? Nope. All right, next up.
It's great.
Oh, sorry.
Just looking at the missions that were chosen for the mission pack, I think he's actually going to struggle to hold.
But they're randomly rolled
Objectives. Are they?
Yeah.
Are they not released? No.
No, I think they're
not.
random roll on the day.
Oh, on the day.
Shit, what have you seen? You tell me what you think they're going to be. Let me
Some
get my-
insider trading going on there, Paul.
No.
I'm gonna make them roll fucking dice.
I just think he's got 7 units. I just think he's just going to struggle to hold objectives.
Yeah,
And
but they don't, though. That's the thing. The Custodes won't. And if things go on, the Custodes have OBSEC, so they're immediately contesting in that front, right? So say a unit of it's volume of attacks maybe is more of the issue, but like if a unit goes on and a unit of Alaris are there, they're going to shift whatever is there, but in return, because they are so tough, it's not as likely that they are going to be completely shifted off the objective.
yeah,
So that's the whole gimmick of Custodes. But they're going to get there. They're OBSEC. They're on the objective. You go on it, they're going to kill you. You're going to have trouble getting them off it. And just with that premise alone, they win a lot of games.
But I think it's one of the things I found with playing against Cathal with the 10 bikes instead of the 5. You've obviously got your MSU, like maybe 2 or 3 small guard or Alaris squads at the back, nipping those objectives, having that fast sort of attacking front, because those bikes can go out and do whatever they want. Pretty much, they're disgusting. But having maybe just one unit of 5 of them along with another slow unit is, could potentially. You have to be quite careful about how you played it, probably, to sort of maximise the effect, especially with the Dreadnought that's obviously quite slow in terms of getting in.
Yeah. What do you think about what secondaries would you pick into this list? Like, would you be cheeky and pick Assassinate just to prevent him from splitting his termies into characters? Or giving up 15 points?
They don't go into characters, they just go into single units.
I thought they turned into characters when
They
they
don't
did
come
that.
in characters.
No, they don't. I'll just double check here,
You
but
double
they
check
just
that
become
there.
single. They just become single units.
Jose, I think if you pick that secondary, you're playing straight into his hands, because then he just goes, all right, I'm not going to split into characters, and you lose 15 points.
Well, like I like the fact that, at least with my list, I can go to any table and I have 3 secondaries that I can pick default. That I don't require the opponent's input. I go up and just boom, there's my 3 secondaries, and one of them I can sort of give her, like I can get a few points on it, but focus more on denying 1 or 2 of theirs in exchange for that one that I'm only going to pick up a few from. But my time at the table, my thinking time, is going to be low. But when somebody plays against Custodes, I'll probably tell you much better. Like, people probably hum and ha at him for a long time before every single game, going, what the hell am I going to pick?
Yeah. But it's all part of the army list building stage as well. He's done the right thing by maybe taking smaller amounts of units, but Nathan's right when it comes to, because he's only got 5 bikes, and I keep going back to this 5 bike. If I play a game that's got 6 objectives on it, then I have the ability to move on to those objectives turn 2, turn 1 with the Terminators. It's very, very easy for your opponent to be like, right, well, I'm going to put this intercessor here on the objective, and now you got to come 9 inches away and make a 9-inch charge. So now you're to stop you getting those points for 2 turns. You know what I mean? And just to go back to it, unleash the land, select the strategy at the start of your movement phase. Select unit of Alaris Custodes from your army on the battlefield. That unit immediately splits into separate units, each containing a single model. So you're wrong. They don't become characters, they become single units.
Alright, then.
Thanks for coming.
Like, as if you were ever going to pick Kilmore against Custodes, but like, if each model became a unit, you'd be tempted. I mean, it's just if you were struggling for that 3rd one and you saw that many Alaris.
I done it. It didn't work. It worked for like 2 turns.
3 by 1 man Terminator squads, love it.
5 by 1.
Right. Oh, sorry, 5 in that list, yeah, 5 in that.
But here it's good, and like they're talking about in the chat too, it's like if you need to just spread and hold, like boom, late game, I don't have a lot left on the table. Custodes want to be the army that's outlasting you with that durability. They really need to pick something up, get on more objectives, boom, split, turn 4, run around, jump on a bunch of objectives, you're laughing, whatever the pick, if they've got engage and they need that engage point. I just love armies that have that tool belt, or toolbox, that allows them to make the late game plays. It's like, shit, I'm in turn 4, I need 15 points, or I need 25 points. What am I going to do? What have I got? How can I make this play? I've only got a couple of units left. What can I do? Oh shit, right? I've got 4 termies in that squad. Boom, there are 4 units. I'm getting that extra. I'm on 3 objectives, and I've got an engage point that I wasn't going to get. You know what? That's just good. Right.
What I actually think it's really
You
cool
can
before
go
we
ahead
go off
there.
this list, what I think it's really cool for is, say if you are going up against something like a Repulsor Dreadnought or Plague Burst Crawler, something that wants to shoot that full squad of Alaris and try and bid it down, spend the 2 CP, make it 5 separate units, and it's like, right, go ahead, shoot everything into that one guy. Do you know what I mean? I've got another 4 of them hanging around here.
Shit. I hate them.
Yeah.
I'm yet to beat them. I hate them. hate them very much. Right, Mal's list. So Nate, you read out the one before the last one, but I'm going to throw this your way because you were reviewing it earlier. So I will let you get stuck in.
Yeah. So Malachi's list. He's playing Iron Hands. He's got a battalion. So he's got a captain in Gravis armor, and he's got the Aegis firm, which I'm not actually too sure what that does. Let me have a nosy.
As a 5
Apologies.
up in low pain, I think.
Is it? Yeah, well, it's
It's an
pretty solid.
extra toughness and 5 up in low pain.
Yeah, well, that guy's already tanky enough, so he's tough enough to put down. He's got the Master of Sanctity chaplain with recitation of focus, Matter of Strength, and Benediction of Fury. With a jump pack. He's not a Primaris chaplain with a combi melta. So basically, he'll just go around acting as another Smash captain near enough. A bit of forward pressure if he needs it. He can buff the other range units, like the Redemptors and stuff like that if he needs to. He's got an Infiltrator squad, which is, I think, one of the best units in the game. Full stop. And then he's got 10 intercessors, 2 5-man units. He has the apothecary, the chief apothecary, with selfish healer trait. So he's reviving guys back. Everybody knows what that does. He has another 5 Blade Guard veterans. That's becoming a staple in everybody's list now. 5 Blade Guard veterans. Interestingly, he's brought 2 Redemptor Dreadnoughts. They're basically just big DACA variants of the Redemptor, so they're pretty decent at laying down some quality firepower at range and also decent sort of counter threat. He's got a Venerable Dreadnought as well. He's got March of the Ancients on it, and he's a character, so he has Tempered Helm, and his Warlord trait is the targeting protocols. He's got 5 Inceptors, again, all plasma. Again, that's slowly but surely becoming a staple of every Marine list. And then he's got 4 Eradicators, again,
5,
which is,
I think.
5, sorry, is it? No, it's just
Yeah,
like
the sergeant in there too.
Yeah, I think the sergeant gets lost.
Yeah, so again,
Battlescribe.
that's becoming a staple of a lot of Marine lists. And then a Vindicar Assassin, which is quite an interesting choice. Lots of control in this list. Lots of countercharge abilities, lots of defense, lots of things that sort of work in synergy with each other, and there's a fair bit of shooting in it. Hard target removal. So the plasma interceptor squads can just lift units by themselves. Those Redemptors, again, quality firepower, can shift other Marine in the mirror matchup. They'll just lift things, and the Eradicators are fantastic anti-marine and anti-vehicle. But quite an elite list, quite neat and tidy. I like it actually. It's interesting that he's picked Iron Hands over Salamanders or White Scars, but he's definitely an Iron Hands player.
It's a better list as Iron Hands, though. This list is a better list as Iron Hands than it would be as Sally's or White Scars. This build.
That's not far off the list that played you, Cathal, up at Mal's house, is it? It's close enough.
Yeah. It's pretty similar, brother. Like a punish, right?
No, it's just the amount. It's
good
just
list. He plays it well. He's adamant about Redemptors being good, or is it Redemptor? Yeah, Dreadnought Redemptor. Because they put out so many shots, you know what I mean. He's just for days.
They are good,
and they do work against nearly everything. Like he was saying, with Devastator Doctrine going away, you can see that his list is a lot more balanced through the phases. So he does have the 3 Dreadnoughts, but other than that, there's not a lot that works in Devastator. So when it comes to spending his stratagems, turn 2 and turn 3, he can spend 2 CP. I think it's 2 CP altogether to put both the Dreadnoughts back into Devastator Doctrine, giving them reroll ones, and then maybe another CP to give one Wizard of the Ancients to reroll wounds. So the two of them are rocking up the board, putting out a serious amount of firepower. Yeah, it's a good list.
with
Yeah, I was
Invulns.
saying it,
Raise the fuck
punished.
up. It'll be fine for the weekend.
Don't leave a spear tip poking out of Obscurin. That's the moral there.
Yeah, so like he can run those if he wants to pair them up with the Libby. They're gonna have the Invuln from Psychic Fortress.
Yeah, exactly.
What size steel armor do?
Let me see.
Who's that on? Sorry.
It's a librarian.
Size the armor gives +1 save. +1 save, and then the other one's +1 to hit, I think.
Okay, so there you go. So look at that.
And the
That's
5 up Invuln. I think he takes 3 bars.
super complimentary right there. Then, yes, obviously the synergy with the Iron
Yeah.
Hands Super Doctrine, making the Venerable. What does target protocols do?
What's that on? Sorry, Jose.
It's a warlord
I think
trait.
it gives him a reroll.
Reroll the damage roll, and so that would synergize. with the
Okay,
last
so
cannon.
at the start of a shooting phase, he can pick a friendly Iron Hands unit within 6. And when resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon by that model, you could reroll the hit roll, and once that phase, he can also reroll the wound roll
So
and the damage roll. So it's pretty good.
extra damage, heavy weapons for multiple phases, lots of shots, lots of resiliency with the army wide feel no pains, the extra feel no pains, the 5 up Invuln psychic power, the size steel armor for +1 on the save. It is
-1 damage on dreadnoughts.
-1 damage built into the dreadnoughts. Like, it is a hard army to shift, especially through shooting, because like a lot of that's like part of that list, about a third of it is only in shooting, but like it's a really tough nut to crack. It is.
I like
would
that. I actually.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, going ahead. No, Nate, after you, going ahead.
I would just be worried about just eradicators, the amount of eradicators we're seeing currently at the minute. It's just, don't know.
But yeah, it's like eradicators can be hit or miss. You know, what are you seeing? Like, I know there's one fella in the chat talking like he's got a Mimi salamanders list that has, you know, like 15 of them or 18 of them or something like that. But you don't tend to see people doing that. It's the multi-meltas from the sisters is where, you know, that many shots multi-melta as well. That's enough to creep through and lift these things. If he's Libby, you know, if he's going to castle up, you know, he can make a really tight, hard castle. But like when the game I played him, he had to spread out. He was forced to. He had to play the mission. So then there was the Dread that wasn't getting the Invuln, which you could then throw the plasma into, throw stuff into. But like he's dropped something that I actually quite liked from his list when we played, and that was the flying autocannon dudes in favor of plasma inceptors. I wish he was on the chat. He said he was going to join, because I would be asking him why he decided to do that. The man that hates plasma and thinks it's shit has put plasma on his list.
We had talked about it, and it was a case of adding the suppressors, or giving. He took 5 plasma, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
5 Inceptors, yeah.
Like 5, they're just needed. There's going to be Harlequins here. There's going to be demons here with loads of bodies. Blast on them is just too big,
Yes.
and suppressors are so hit and miss. They're so hit and miss.
But like that's exactly it in a nutshell. You go in against any squad with more than 5 models, each Inceptor is throwing out 6 shots flat.
Yeah, it's 18 shots. Like, I mean, it's crazy.
So,
It's stupid good. Like, how the fuck do they get blast?
That's
Just-
right. It's 30,
Right.
30 shots in that squad of 5, not 18.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Oh, sorry, I was thinking 3. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, 30 shots. Bye bye. Bye bye, unit.
well, strong. It's going to be like if you're standing in front of that army and you're on a table that doesn't have enough cover, you're fucked. Mal's going to pick you up in 2 or 3 turns. He's just going to stand there, roll about 1 billion dice, game over. You have to work to beat that list, that's for fucking sure. And the Vindicator, in the game we played, he dropped the Vindicator down and popped Khan in the head, shot Kizaru. I was like, shit, I forgot about that. You know, he dropped down like with his last shot.
Well, that's what I was going to say. When I seen him just before Nate had spoke, I was going to say the Vindicator, I love it because such a small footprint in terms of dropping him in. And you can apply them like, so you can be dropping them in at the backboard to threaten characters, turn 2 or 3, say turn 3. You can also be using them to score engage in all fronts. So you can be popping a secondary off him. Something you have to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're popping him in cover, it's a friggin' nightmare to deal with. And he's also taking pot shots. I think against the Custodes, it was Trajan. He actually forced out the end of the cover, you know, to sort of come more mid-board. So it's just, yeah, it's a nice wee utility unit to throw into the game mid-game.
Yep.
Really like it.
It's just kind of cool.
Right.
What about you?
Martin's list, Necrons. Who wants to take this one? I said Nate had to read out all the Necron ones, but if someone else wants to do it, they're more than welcome to.
No, Nate has the horn for the Necron here to run
Yeah,
it. So.
that's it.
Yeah, so let's have a nosy at this one. So Martin Crawley, fantastic player. So you know he knows exactly what he's doing. So let me see. Let me just get the list up here. So he has a battalion detachment, and he's went for Novok. So he's got an Overlord, and he's the Warlord, and he has Thrall the Seven King, Tachyon Ario, Hyperface Glaive. What else have we got? Another Overlord, and he has the Implacable Conqueror Warlord trait along with the War Scythe, and he also has the Veil of Darkness. And then the third HQ is the Scorpec Lord. Basically, he's got another Warlord trait. He's just basically tooled up the Murder Marines. We have 30 Necron Warriors. We've got the Void Dragon. We have 3 units of 3 Scorpec Destroyers, which are decent. Fast attack is 4 Scarab Swarms, and then he has a patrol with a Royal Warden and another 10 Warriors, and then he has the Nightbringer, which is interesting.
Who's taking 2 Catans?
Yeah, so that's awesome. That's kudos just for doing that. That's cool as shit.
Martin must get really annoyed at people when he's driving a bus to think, I'm going to come to a tournament and bring 2 Catans just to really fuck people off.
Yeah, I love it.
Give me 20 quid on the bus with no change. Fucking dead on, mate. Take my 2 Catans.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually haven't played against any sort of variant of the Necron list like that. I've played Chris. Chris's Necrons, which don't look sort of like that list. I know he's added in the Nightbringer against you. Well, did he play you, Cathal, with the Nightbringer, or was it? Yeah, it was you.
Yeah.
He switched that into the list. So I'm not sure. What that list does.
I'm not too sure. Well, I maybe it's just me, but because he's taken the 2 void, or because he's taken the 2 Cetans, it then makes it that he can't 3 blocks of 20 warriors, which is really, I think, where it's at, giving them 5 up Invuln and Fearless and kill. The only list that we've seen so far and everything that could lift a full squad of warriors in a turn from shooting, say, for example, is probably Malekith's. Or in one go, sorry, is Mal's. Everything else is going to struggle, whereas because they're 10-man units, they're easily killed. So there's his obsec sort of gone. Let me just go down to the next bit, sorry. Another 10, yeah, so like, I think it's maybe to take those 2 Cetans, I keep calling them, take them to have a bit of fun. He's come away from the, like, really, really tuned in. aspect of Necrons, but it looks like it's going to be a fun list. And like having
Yeah.
those two rocking up the board, causing loads of mortal wounds.
So
Oh.
the dynasty that he's picked is basically get into combat really quickly. They get +1 to their charge rolls, but also if they do a charge move or heroically intervene, basically anytime they make a melee attack, they get an extra AP. But the only real things going forward is those destroyers and the lords, because the Catans don't benefit from that. But I think it's an interesting list where you have the Necrons flooding the board, taking the objectives. The Catans moving forward, they can only take so many wounds a phase. And then you also have this countercharge element moving up through runes, being annoying, blocking big bases, just pressuring after the Catans. So it's interesting. But outside the expansionists, the pre-move before the game starts, dynasty, I don't know how well it's going to do. It's very choppy, but yeah, lots of attacks and damage going through and stuff. So yeah, it would be interesting.
Nice, yeah. I think Necrons are in a good spot. I think from the couple of games I've had against them, they're yeah. They've got tools there, which is nice, and some really similar to the Marine Codex of some really like 2 really nice sanctuaries, which are pretty handy to score with the sort of builds that are sort of coming through. Which you've got Purge the Vermin and Ancient Machineries, I think, 2 ones that seem to be more than doable.
Yeah. That list would be one to watch. It's quite a unique list, and I'll probably keep an eye on that. I always like Martin's way of writing this, so there's probably a few more tricks that I and probably we us non-Necron players haven't spotted yet. But there's also things with the codes and stuff that definitely benefit.
There were so many good adaptations now, like where they can manipulate the game the way they want it, which is a really cool aspect in an army. Yeah, it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
How the fuck did I turn off sound coming through notifications on my computer? How did I do that?
The bottom right taskbar, or do that.
What did I do?
There's a wee sound symbol in the bottom right hand side. I'll not repeat Halsey's instruction because it was a bit techy and fucking. There should be a wee sound thing in the bottom right hand taskbar. If you click it and nip that,
it turns us all off. It doesn't matter. All right, I'll live.
just don't fight them. Just don't fight them.
That's what I did. I just run away. Yeah, boy.
Well, do you want to take the Yeah, definitely.
Yep. Ball.
Hey, boys. Oh, well. That's it. I told the child to stay up.
Yep, cool. It is Matt McVeigh. Yeah, cool. Matt is traveling over from England to come play some 40k. He is running Harlequins. So he's running them as the Soaring Spite. So that allows him to advance without penalty, and his fusion boats can advance and shoot the pistols if they're still inside the boats. So he's got a Shadow Seer, a Troop Master with Twilight Fang as a relic, and he's got another Troop Master with a fusion pistol and a kiss. He's changed the pivotal role on him. I don't have a White Dwarf on me, and I haven't memorized them. But I've changed it on them both, actually, I think. I'll have to go and take a look at that. I'll go back there. He's then got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squads with fusion pistols. The squads, and then he's got 1, 2, 3. And he's got a 10-man squad with shuriken pistols, some cresses and kisses, a death solitaire, 5 bikes, 2, 4, 6 bikes, sorry, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Starweavers. So, and that's the list. So the plan of attack with this is into the boats. Hello?
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. My football stopped there, so it's like a fucking internet sort of. So yeah, put the fusion into the boats, move up the board, and dump out. If you kill a boat, he has a squad jumps out onto an objective, and that's pretty much it. The 10-man squad runs up the board, and they put out so many attacks. And yeah, we all know that Harlequins are in a really good spot if they're played correctly. So I think he's had a lot of success on TTS or something similar. And he is one of our players for ETC this year, or WTC. So a good shown. And he's the only Eldar variant of list that is going this weekend. So Flam isn't there. Yeah, that's pretty much about it.
So much fusion.
It is.
The Dreadnoughts don't like it.
See, to be fair, because he's only got 6 bikes, so he doesn't have a lot of mortals, but he does have a lot of fusion. And if he's putting fusion out there, then he's having to get close. And if he's having to get close, then you can kill it. You know what I mean?
Well, that's kind of where now, at least where my list has a ton of fire with the 2 Redemptor Dreadnoughts just spilling out a stupid amount of shots. It's maybe decent against those invulnerable saves. But if he gets all those shots into the Dreadnoughts, then that's a different kettle of fish. So but that's why the Librarian with Psychic Fortress is there to give the old invulnerable save for the Dreadnoughts, and hopefully not have them die from fusion or from Eradicators.
100%.
How many characters is there? Then yeah.
Like the Solitaire and the 2 Troop Masters are in your face.
Yeah, they have to be.
And then the Shadow Seer to get his buffs off. I'm not too sure if he's increased the range another 3 inches. Again, I'll have to go take a look at the White Dwarf.
Does the army have the same thing that reduces your range against it?
Yeah, it could do. Like I said, I don't have the White Dwarf in front of me, so I'm not too sure what the pivotal role is on the Shadow Seer. And the Warhammer app doesn't have it.
Yeah. That reducing the damage is huge. Reducing the
Range.
reducing the range is huge.
Yeah, -1 to hit. T5. 6 wounds. Yeah, you get. How many you got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. You get 5 or 6.
12 you would get.
Yeah, you get 12 shots. That. Halsey, you're muted from the stream.
Alex. Oh, wow.
Cheers, Shane Todd. Or sorry, Shane Ford. Shane Todd. Shane F-O-R-D.
That's why he's never going to get his own name, like.
Is Nate muted as well, or what?
No, Nate's not muted.
It's
It's just me. I just clicked on the OBS. But all I was saying was bring it down as an option. Assassinate as an option. Just talking secondaries into this list. And what
Yes!
people would think.
Yeah, take it or bring it down as a good one.
Really
Not
excited.
that good to help you out, like.
Sorry. The super
Super
hoops.
hoops.
I do love the super hoops.
He loves them super hoops, so he does. He just loves them.
Getting your eradicator or put your blade guard here, come.
Good lad. Yeah, it's a good list. I'm sure we'll do well. Matt's a good player.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Like, another one. You know, I don't know him personally, but I've been seeing how much he's been playing both in real life and online, and this is another person that I can see, you know, being up there on the day. You know, like there's been more people here in the list that we've read out that could finish first than there hasn't, and that's what's so crazy. So, here's another one, Michael Byrne. Over to you, Nate. Read out some Necrons for us, please.
Yeah, well, this is the Silver Tide list. This is the stereotypical list that you're seeing, but Mike's put his own sort of spin on it. So basically, it all revolves around the Catacomb Command Barge. The Lord on it has the Immortal Pride Warlord trait, so everything, it's fearless, but the Catacomb Command Barge is that big that it extends the radius basically of the Fearless Ball. So it's quite an intelligent pick, actually, a good choice. And also it's quite good in the game. He's got a Royal Warden. He's got 2 Chronomancers, Cryptics. He's got 80 Warriors. He's got 20, what's that? 27 Scarabs, and they're all going to be OPSEC. And before the game starts, it all walks forward 6 inches. So if it's going first, it can walk 6 inches backwards or forward onto the middle area, start pressuring. But his secret technology that he's chosen is actually the fortification, the convergence of domination, and it's got the pylons, basically the 3 pylons. So the trick is he can deep strike them, wall you in. He can land on an objective, get a table quarter, you know, just be really annoying. Wall an objective off so you can't come within 3 inches of it. Sort of move block and move trap units that can't go through runes, stuff like that. So it's quite unique, but yeah, it's a nightmare to get rid of. All those warriors have a 5-up invulnerable save. They're getting boosted by the Orb of Eternity and the Res Orb, so they're even harder to kill. They can fall back and shoot. Well, one unit can with a Royal Warden, and that's 80 Gauss Reaper shots, which are nasty enough. Not to mention, you kill all those, and then you've got how many scarabs has he got? All those scarabs basically have 4 wounds as well. So even if he's on an objective, he's just really hard to shift. So I really like this list. It'll
It's
be
like
quite tricky to deal with.
It's an old school plague bearer list.
It is.
That's why you like it, you sicko.
But yeah,
Sicko.
it's solid.
He's been playing it a lot as well, hasn't
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
had a lot of reps of it. And it plays the missions really well. It's quite difficult to choose secondaries against it. And also Necrons are just decent, I think,
Yep. Got so many more tools in their toolbox than they had in 8th, and now they can actually play the game with the way that reanimation protocols and stuff work with them now. Yeah, I think it's really good. Michael's one of those players too that he's very. If you were to tell Michael to play a Space Marine list, or you give him a random list, he wouldn't have a fucking clue. But see, when you give him that Necron list or a Tau list that he sits down and he plays and plays and plays, he knows it inside out, knows all the stratagems to use, knows all the buffs, knows all the nuances of when to use them and how to use them. And that's a really good aspect of his game. I hope he does well this weekend. I think the last time he done really well on score,
he?
but only came away with 2 wins. I'd like to
Yeah.
see him, now that he's played and played and played, I'd like to see him doing better. Not that he done bad, but you know what I mean? I'd like to see him getting up there and actually
Converting the points into
getting some
wins.
W's under his belt. Good luck, Michael.
But like, again, no joke. There's another person that could win it on the day. Knows 9th edition well. Knows these Necrons inside out. Another person don't want to play. Right, and here's Paul, who was on the chat there, but dropped. I think Cal's dropped and Nate's away. You're still there, Maldo, aren't you?
I'm here.
Happy days. Give these guys a wee chance to come back. But so you've got Cal painting your blade guards for you. Things you do for 10
Well-
points, lad.
Well, no, it's just I haven't got my final ones, and he had them, so he said he'd just stick the 2 colours on them just to get them sorted. So I don't really
Happy
mind.
days. What about the Redemptor? Have you been hobbying away at that?
Working away on it at the minute. My other 3 blade guard, and decided to rebase the other Marines and rebase the other Redemptor as well. So I've been flat out, and I had to build another Inceptor, so I've got another Inceptor done as well. So
Building
yeah,
those is like there's more parts in those Inceptors. We were just talking about it than you think. Took me
yeah, there's loads.
most of the day to build 6 there on Sunday. Yeah, it's one of those things about the way 9th edition has included that 10 points. It's really motivating when it comes to getting hobby done in it. It's like, it's
I think it's
serious.
great.
I
I'm
think it's
totally for it.
Me too, man.
Just haven't had the time to get it done.
That's it, isn't it? Late nights. Like, there's been a lot of people, a lot of the podcasts I would listen to that talk about, the late fucking nights that they were putting in, especially before that big competition. The beer koozie drama, if you remember that shit.
Oh, yeah.
And like the boys were saying, like they were up to they were working until 11 o'clock at night, and then they were straight up in the morning out to work again. But
Yeah.
to get their shit ready for the competition, they were staying up to like 3-4 in the morning every single night on the run up to it to get their lists. Competitive fucks that they all were. But then to turn up at a comp and when people don't have it done, it's like a real fucking slap.
It's a bit frustrating, man.
But yeah, I think it's great. And to Pete's credit, he started introducing it before 9th edition came along,
He did.
which was always good too.
Yeah.
So here, we'll jump into Paul. This is the list I can take, all right. I don't think he's coming back. He's dropped. So we're into the Deathwing list. This is the list we were talking about at the beginning of the stream. The bat rep for that will be live tomorrow at 9 o'clock on YouTube for everyone. And it's already out for the patrons. he's made a few changes, but I'll sort of pick up on those as we go through. So we've got Azrael, 4-up Invuln bubble against shooting attacks. We've got a Talonmaster with Rites of War. So Obsec Aura for core units. I think Rites of War works in characters too. I think that's the one that core and character. Infiltrator Squad. Deathwing Command Squad. Lightning Claw, Thunderhammer Storm Shield. Another one of those. Deathwing Knights, Blob of 5. Terminator Squad, another melee orientated one. Oh, he's got Stormbolters this time actually. So Thunderhammer Storm Shield and Assault Cannon Power Fist.
Nice.
And 3 Stormbolter Power Fist. So a bit more DACA in there than his other makeup. Another Terminator Squad, Lightning Claw pair, 2 Thunderhammers and Storm Shield, Assault Cannon with Power Fist, and Lightning Claw pair. So those Deathwing Terminator Squads, just before I move on, the fact that they can make up like that, similar to how the Wolf Guard can do that, that's really tight. It adds to the resilience.
Yeah.
Ravenwing Apothecary upgraded to the Chief. I just love that. Was great before the chapter command upgrades came in, and even better now. Oh, here's Kyle back as well.
And Nate.
Reliquary of the Repentant. So that is a -1 Invuln aura within 3 inches. So if he bombs that Apothecary forward and gets his other stuff in, you're -1 Invuln. That was
Nice.
I always liked bombing that in to help shift the Tau drones, which were the bane of my life. The last edition. Outrider Squad, 2 times 3. And he's sticking with the 5 Eradicators. And they come as they are. No multi-melter or heavy one this time. So the thing about this list is it's a rock. It's a tough nugget. If things want to run into it, they're going to bounce. It is Terminators. Terminators are slow. Deathwing don't have teleport homers, so you're not able to jump back with them the same way you might with other chapters. But the important thing for people, everybody probably knows, but in case people don't know, the inner circle is going to give them transhuman baked in. And in the game we were playing, like I had a lot of high strength things going at him, and it was just always wounding and force. Just 50% of those wounds are getting dropped on the floor off the bat. Then you're going into Invulns, Storm Shield Invulns, and you're going into +1 armor saves and +0 armor saves and cover. So, when you see the bat rep, you hear him in despair at the end of turn 2, when like the table was just gold, and he was like, "Is there any point of even playing anymore? It's like this game's over." And I'm like, "Dude, it's not. It's really not." And like you'll see in the bat rep, you bounce, and they're strong. A list like this is going to be able just to set itself down with a chunk of those Terminators in the middle of the table, and even if they're slow, they can move out from there. There's speed aspects in the Outriders. I was hoping he was working on attack bikes. I was wondering if there was going to be attack bikes in this list. One of the key changes I would say is he's added a bit more DACA into the list. He was very melee heavy in the match I played against him. Had something like 25 Terminators, even though there was assault cannons in there. That was about it really when it came to the shooting. So when I could, before like I went into him, I could just move away, and he was just shooting me with assault cannons, and I could kind of pick and choose where they were shooting, and that was 12 shots. Now he's got the Talonmaster, which is going to be able to jump about and give that obsec. I think people will be surprised if they draw this list and think, oh, there's not a lot there, that's a very elite list, I know what I'm dealing with. It'll shock people just how tough that shit actually is, and it's not not Death Card.
I think one of the things for Paul, when I was chatting to him after his game with Cahill, is that he finished the game with 7 CP left. So he knew that his CP management was not, and I was like, that's not a bad thing to learn now, that you've played a game and you've still got 7 CP left. Like, that's fuel. You need to spend that, and you know that now. That's huge. I think that's class. So they've been able to go through a game and not spend that CP and then go, I finished with 7 CP. I think that's too many to finish with. And like, finish what turn with? Sorry.
He unfortunately didn't have much that he could do with 7 CP because the custodies touched him in bad places.
Yeah.
Well, that's what he's done.
So here's a few things.
What I found actually playing against one squad of those Terminators.
Go ahead, Cal.
Only playing against one squad of the Terminators. He ran a completely different list with lots of bikes. Was that fuck? They were hard to shift after them one turn, and I think I lifted 3 of them. But it's one of those things that armies that do loads of chip damage are going to do really well against it. But armies that can't do chip damage are going to struggle. Because you can roll really hot on 4-ups, or you can whiff really bad. So my 2 cents.
I tend to agree with that. Spending that CP, that's part of it. He's working with a limited set of stratagems. You know, the core army and Dark Angels and the Deathwing especially, the built-in transhuman, Terminator's going to 3 wounds, the makeup of the Terminator squads, the addition in the index of these Deathwing command squads, which he's now running, which he didn't run last time. That's to be able to spread out and stand in more objectives, and they're going to be really tough to shift. We're not talking a couple of servitors here. You're talking 2 6 wounds with 0 up armor saves, probably in cover, you know, etc. etc. It's better than the list he ran against. It's going to be able to play the mission much better, and the CP will go into giving these guys +1 to hit as much as possible. That's a bunch of Terminators in a bunch of phases where you can just go, right, you're hitting on 2s now. You know, or with the special weapons that have the -1, you're hitting on 3 still. So he'll crank out the efficiency, and you know, I don't think he'll have much problem spending that CP. You know, at least on that, the double move and the apothecary, the combined assault to drop the Termies 6 inches away from where they want to go. Deathwing Knights 6-inch charge, reroll CP. There's another one there to make sure that they get in, stuff like that. You know, the maces, give them +1 to hit, hitting on 2s. Thunderhammers that hit on 2s. A save goes bad, CP reroll. You know, I think he's now, like you said, Mal, he's had time and he knows what he's going to do with that, and like that's the fuel, like you said, that'll make it even harder to deal with this shit.
It's good to have, you know. It's a nice fuel to burn. It'll be good to see Chaos get a win.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing it.
They're the most loyal. Right. Next up, Richard McRoberts, Custodes. This is a list that ruined my night. So, Cal?
I love this list.
So do I. It's fun, great. Right, go for
love this list. Hold on, let me get to it.
Fanboying.
So while you're getting to it,
So, I am a fanboy. I do think it's really good. So he's went. I'm there. He's went for a. What am I looking at here? Went for a patrol. Shield captain on Donegal Jetbike, and that's the only HQ he's taken. Also in Annihilator and company commanders Castellan's Mark, which I think is CP regen. And then he's just taking a bare bones other than that. Then he's got 1 3-man squad with 2 spears, another 3-man squad with 2 spears, and then a 5-man squad with 2 spears and 3 shields. Then he's went 4 axes, 4 Alaris Custodes, another 4 Alaris Custodes, and then 2 squads of 4 bikes, all with salvo launchers. I think this is really good. He sort of, what he's done is he's trimmed away all the fat. He's taken away Trojan. He's taken away stuff that he doesn't think that he's going to need. Do you know what I mean? Starts everything on the board and pushes up turn 1. Now that the Custodes don't have the same Storm Shield rule as, well, they do with Space Marine, so they get plus save and a 4-up invuln.
Yep.
But the Custodes special rule, if you're battle forged, is you get +1 to your invuln save. So they're still rocking a 3-up invuln, a 1-up, and then a 0-up and cover. So they're really, really tanky. Very, very hard to get rid of. And then because went for the 8 bikes and the 8 Terminators, in my opinion, he's got more speed than what David has. So he can play the mission a wee bit better. He can play the board. He can use the speed of the bikes to get him out of a problem that is maybe 24 inches away. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I really like it. I think it's really good. How did your game go against him? How did you find his gameplay and stuff? Do you think he's got a shot?
Yes, he knows it.
What was I?
Oh, am I fucking muted again? No, you're just lagging. Can you guys hear me?
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm actually, for the stream, I'm playing back the high speed bat rep that I played against him, so that they'll be able to see what actually happened. He knows his list. He has a shot. The list is really good. The aspect that I like about it is the sizing of the units. That's the part that made this list so good. It's really tight. I don't know what to say. Like, I think, like, when we chatted about it afterwards, there were things I could have done that meant that I could have won. But that was decision. So I don't think, the list is insurpassable. However, I felt like it was very difficult to play. And yes, a few things went against me that would have scored points. But that sizing is just, like if I was running my Custodes, this is the way I'd be running my Custodes. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Is this Richard who ran Gilliman last time?
Yes.
His gameplay and lists through every tournament that he's been at just get better and better. Like he just gets he's a really good player now. Like, not that he was, but his gameplay is just set. Every single tournament is better, and he refines it, and he refines it, and he refines it. And he talks about it, and he sees what's not so good, what is good, and then he refines it again. I've played him a few times. It's always a good game, and it's always a tight game, and he plays really well.
Yep. It was meant to be my first ever tournament opponent. With his Ultramarines with triple Vindicator, but he couldn't make it that weekend, so that's why I ended up playing Mick and his Tau, which is about all the time. It still gives me nightmares. But yeah, I would just say to the people that are watching,
Tau.
go check out that bat rep. It's just up on our YouTube there. You'll see what we were talking about here, with just like you talk about Custodes being slow, right, Cal? Certain units being slow. I wouldn't necessarily the speed of his bikes. I don't think had anything to do with his dominance over me in that game. I think it was the Terminators and the resilience of the units that he did have. So on the left flank there, if you can see it, he had Shield Captain and I think it was two guard squads. On the right flank, he had, and this is the long deployment, in the right flank he had his Terminators, his Aluris, and in the middle, that's kind of where his Praetors were, and one of them did make a charge forward. But you can just see like how tough that was, on the objectives. You had a guard squad at the back, which I struggled to shift. 3 Custodian Guard, got the Teeth of Terra Captain, fighting twice into them, rolled his invuln saves, rolled his 3-ups. No bar.
Love it.
Fought back, killed him. way you go. You know, so that's just Custodes, mate. You know, a billion attacks. Each one that went through was a dead guard, man. No, roll your 3 ups. Boom, done. Anyways, I'll say no more.
Get good.
Get good indeed. Back to the list. Anything else? Anybody else got anything to add about that list? Because I do think it's great. So, Dreadhost. Why Dreadhost, Cal?
For his list, it gives you a stratagem for a 3d6 charge, pick the 2 highest if you come in off Deep Strike. And All Seeing Annihilator, I think, is the extra hits on 6's Warlord trait. So every time you get a 6, it's an extra hit. And then the Strategic Mastermind is the regen of the command points. So yeah, that's why he's taking that. It means, and the good thing about that is, right, you pay 1 CP for 1 unit and 2 CP for up to 3. So you could put just Terminators into Deep Strike if you wanted, and he's getting those big long charges, or he's getting the chance to get 9-inch charges off.
Yeah.
That's good.
Actually, in our game, I think he failed his 3d6, made his 2d6 charge. But like having 2 cracks at the charge because of the 2 squads meant that if one of them got in, they did exactly what he needed them to do. Take the objective, kill the shit that's on it, and they're not getting shifted easily, and their Termies in cover, their Custodes in cover. You know, so shit one. Yeah, another thing that thinking back in that game, bring it up. Like I was obsessed with trying to like get the middle too much. I was going for Oath way too much. And I was one of those ones. The lesson I took away from it, like I did with a lot of the games that I've played leading up to this competition, is play the primary first and foremost. And like, yes, you got to play the secondary, and like you have to think about what your secondary scoring is because you have to start that from the beginning. But do not neglect your primary for one of your secondaries, because your primary is worth more than any one of your secondaries would ever be. So, you know, me getting a little bit obsessed in the middle with the Blade Guard and the Blob in there, you can see, the stream can see, I should have been hitting the sides much more and lifting that shit off it. And if I had lifted that shit off it, that's a lot of shit. Everything you kill in a Custodes army hurts. And I'm too busy feeding in the middle for Oath. So, and also, I won the roll-off and I let him go first. Like we spoke about it afterwards. In that match, if I was doing it again, I'd be going first. So, because like by the time I got to Super Saiyan stage for the White Scars, he'd already had 2 goes at eating my shit up, whereas he would have only had 1, and I had the speed to get to wherever I needed to go. He also took board control with this army. Custodes took the board control. By turn 2, he's in the dominant position. He's not going to move. And like if Custodes have the board control in turn 2 and are scoring all of those points, you know, it's an uphill battle. So that's it. I guess that's all I've really got to say on that from my perspective. He's a great guy. It was a really fun game, and it was a really good learning game. So I hope I get to play him again. I might grudge him. Actually, I might grudge him, because like that would be good to get that game just to make sure we do play. Because again, getting beat by him, I want to get that W over a Custodes list. Might as well go for the biggest kid in the schoolyard or the whatever. Right, next up, Richard Moore. Deke's Blood Angels. Do you want to take this one, Cal?
Yeah, can I just start off by saying I think Deke's on drugs? Because the Blood Angel supplement isn't being used, and they've got no stratagems. Do you know what I mean? So although the data sheets are quite similar, there's no strats. So they're I texted him and was like, mate, please don't take Blood Angels. It's such a bad idea. And he's like, I've painted them, so I want to take them. So fair fucks to you. So if you look down through all the characters, they've got Space Marine relics obviously because the supplement being used. So he's got a battalion detachment. He's got a Primaris captain, Rite of War. He's given here the chapter, the Vox and Spiritum. He says Bog Basic, Mastercraft Power Sword, Relic Shield, Primaris Chaplain on Bike. I'm not going to pretend that I can read these because I am very illiterate.
Just like that.
He's taken number 5 and number 6 of the chart, Canticle of Fate and Recadison of Focus. Or,
Recitation of Focus.
Master
Yeah.
Sanctity.
+1 to hit.
Thank you.
Canticle
yeah.
of Fate, +2 to charge, right? +3 in on the Pylon Consolidate. No, Canticle of Hate, because there's 2 ones that are of Hate. Litany of Hate is the
Yes.
reroll attacks. Canticle of Hate, I think, is the Pylon Consolidate and Advanced
I
Buff.
got it.
+2 charge.
Master of Sanctity,
Which
all
does
that shit going off in 2.
it doesn't stack with the Blood Angels +1.
What's the Icon of the
the-
Angel?
Sorry, I don't know.
Canticle of
Litany
Hate
of
is
Hate.
one that he automatically knows.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, that's the reroll hits. Which is like,
Yeah.
and to be fair, that's probably the one where, as Blood Angels,
So
if you're in the
Canticle of
mixer,
Hate-
reroll all hits. It's what you want. Reroll all hits, +1 to wound. Shit, that alone's strong enough. Don't need any fucking stratagems.
He's then taken a Sanguinary Priest, which is an apothecary. Made him a Chief Apothecary. Give him the Teeth of Terra. 1 squad of Assault Intercessors, Bare Bones. 2 other squads. Blade Guard Veterans. He's got 5 of them. Company Veterans, both with Lightning Claws. Then he's got 3 squads of 5 Sanguinary Guard, all with swords. 2 squads of Inceptors ×4 with Plasma, and an Outrider squad. I think this list still has. Don't get me wrong. This list still has teeth. They can still do the job. The stat lines for them are all the same. So, like the Sanguinary Guard lose out on their free rolls, but now you get +1 to hit if they're within 6 inches of the Warlord. They're now -1 to hit in combat. Still get +1 to wound. Do you know what I mean? They can still use all the stuff in the Marine book, but I think that I personally think Blood Angels took a wee bit of a hit in the new supplement, but there's loads of wee subtle things that when you read into it, it's like, all right, well, if I do this, this, and this is pretty cool. Or I could try this with it. I could try this guy with this guy, and now that's pretty cool. Subtle buffs for, like, in my personal opinion, for Astrath, but he went up in points, and his ability that he had, which the name eludes me, is now Litany, so he can do it every turn instead of just once a game, which is pretty sweet. So yeah, there are lots of wee buffs, but he's sort of playing with one hand without any of the stratagems, and because you can't use the old stratagems, like you can't lift the squad and put them down again the same turn and stuff like that. So yeah,
I think it's the tone down that they probably needed. And like, yeah, I'm saying that, like, you know, with all seriousness, so Blood Angels have these special units that have a load of speed. Like, he's gonna get to pretty much anywhere he needs to go. Like, I know it's not advance and charge stuff, but it's like, I'm getting there, and I'm, you know, if you're not able to take care of me, I'm right in your shit. And the +1 to wound is so strong. The +1 to hit on the Sanguinary Guard, so strong. So, loads of AP, millions of attacks. In the new book, there'll be even more attacks. There'll be more attacks than you can ever dream of. You know, it's not dissimilar to my list and like how it's made up, to be fair. Like, looking at it, the Plasma Inceptors, you know, they're going to just give fire support, basically. They're also really good anti-horde right there out of the box. Like, and like, he's a very good player, as we always say. He is a really good player. Like, it's a podium finish. Like, I'm saying it right now. I think 9th edition melee, the speed. I don't care if he doesn't have the new book. I see this list, and just for the same reason, like the troops choices, like, we weren't in colluding or anything. That's exact same troops choice makeup as I've taken. Um, I wish my list had +1 to win. I guess it's got its own shit, but that to me is top tier list.
He's
It's
a
top
great
tier list.
player. He's a great player, but
That is
Blood
not a top tier list.
Blood
I
Angels
think
were
it is.
fueled with stuff that they had due to the
It's
start.
definitely not. With stratagems, yes, no doubt, 100%. Bones, that is not a top tier list. He
Well,
is
what
going to
stratagems are
really
are
have
you-
to play out of his skin to
Right,
make
what-
that work.
This is interesting. What
Upon
stratagems?
the Wings of Fire, for example. So, upon the Wings of Fire, first turn, I take a Sanguinary Guard squad,
Yeah.
I lift it up, and I put it right down the top of you with a 3d6 rerollable charge. So
We're
now
talking
I am
about
guaranteed.
that's not in the new codex though.
That is in the new codex. But
It's
what I'm saying is, if he's playing that codex, pre-codex, it is in it, but now you've got to come down the next turn. But what I'm saying is, he doesn't have that. He doesn't have any tools at all that make the Blood Angels work. And the likes of the new character targeting, so you put a character into combat with a squad, like your Vanguard Vets, your squad then, for 1 CP, has to attack all the attacks into that character and leaves the Sanguinary Guard alone. So now you've got them hanging around for another turn. You know what I mean? There are loads of things that Blood Angels need to make them really good. +1 to wound is fine, and +1 to charge is fine. But it's that list right now with no stratagems, with nothing at all, no relics out of the Blood Angel book, is not top tier.
but
Next
here-
week when he can put the supplement in, then yeah, he probably is.
Yeah, like even with the way it's made up now, like I take your point and I agree to an extent, but I think if there's the appropriate density on the table, he will get into position, he will strike, and when he strikes, it's going to hit hard. Like, unless he like, what would be interesting, I'd love to see, would be watching this list with the speed on a 5 objective mission, play into Paul's Deathwing. You know, that would be good to see, because the +1 to wound doesn't matter if you're wounding in 4s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, why would that be interesting to see? Because now you've just taken a list that isn't going to function correctly anyway, and now make it even worse.
Because
Depending
then it's
depending
going
on
to come down to how you play the mission at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, and
Okay, yeah.
it's not dissimilar to the match and the list that I ran against Paul there earlier in the week. That's why it will be interesting to see, because I still think that it
yeah.
can win, and it's like how you're going to play the mission will be the deciding factor there. Because but anyway, I take your point. We could labour on it. I just think +1 to win.
I'm not saying.
strong natively,
I'm not saying
like-
that. I'm not saying he's going to come away with 0 wins. That's not going to happen because Deke is a very good player. What I'm saying is, he is going to have to play very, very well to come away with the podium. Because at the minute, without any help, that is not top tier. With the help next week, 100%.
So here's another aspect of it that's Blood Angel specific. So where the Dark Angels get Ravenwing Apothecary, so Apothecary and Bike, the Sanguinary Priest, that's a 12-inch move on your Apothecary, right? Healing 2, Resin 1. Like, that's the best Apothecary in the game. That and Ravenwing Apothecary and the Bike, which is already one of the best models in the game, right there. So, like, you've got that in this list. You know, it's easy to overlook. It's still Marines at the end of the day. All that shit's got obsec with the Primaris Captain. The Primaris Captain, though, like, why a Primaris Captain? Would you not, you know,
Smash that.
but Primaris
Is
Captain,
that a smash captain?
like, it's Primaris. Do you know what I mean? It's like 105 points. I guess it's a points thing, but something with the jump pack with the Rites of War, I would like to have seen. It's probably the only criticism I could think of
Yeah.
in that list.
Getting up there with the guard.
Next up, Sam Green. I'll take this one then. So we've got Imperial Fists. Sam is the Crimson Fist guy, right? Oh, there it is. It's Crimson Fist.
Yeah.
So it's a successor. Champion of Blades stratagem. Pre-game. What is that? Anybody know? Anybody got
No.
the app handy? Right.
Yeah,
You look that up for us, please. Relics of the chapter, so he's taking one extra relic. We've got a lieutenant with the Fist of Vengeance. That's the relic fist that the Crimson Fists have. Don't know its stat line, but it sounds based. Got Pedro, Primaris, Chaplain, Catechism of Fire, +1 to hit. Recitation Focus is +1 to hit. Catechism of Fire is +1 to wound. Master Sanctity, the Eye of Hypnoth, which I believe is going to turn him into a lieutenant as well. So he'll be re-rolling ones to wound.
Yeah.
I've got the Champion of Blades thing.
Yeah.
So it's use a stratagem after nominating a model drawn from Imperial Fist Successor chapter to be your warlord. You can give one relic of the fists to a character model from your army that is chosen from blah blah blah. Yes, it's just giving them Imperial Fist relic, pretty much.
Cool. I have Hypnoth then. Paul just
I'm pretty sure it
messages-
turns him into a Brian.
Sorry?
I think that turns him into
A
lieutenant.
lieutenant.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, that is exactly what it is. Intercessors. So we've got big blobs. We've got 10-man autobolt rifles, 10-man with rapid fire. The first one there had a power fist on the sergeant, and then a 5-man. So we've got 25 intercessor squads strong. Obviously, if he so desires, he could combat that squad as needed to dodge the blast. We've got 5 aggressors, 5 Blade Guard veterans, 5 Stern Guard veterans with the special issue bolt gun. Now, I was wondering what this was when I was reading this earlier. What is a special issue bolt gun?
It's a wound on the 2.
Just wounds on a 2?
I think it's something like that, yeah.
Shit. Well, that's filthy for 100 points. Like, a bolt gun, I'm assuming it's rapid fire. Wounding on a 2 for 100
Let me double
points.
check it. Somebody's probably shouting at the screen saying, no, you're wrong. Let me double check it. So, something like that, though.
Somebody in the chat. I'm going to read the chat while you're looking that up. There's Surge says you can get the Fist of Vengeance from Ann Summers.
Jesus. What did I say? Stern Guard veterans.
So, and I'll just pound on them. 3 Eradicators, another 3 Eradicators, Repulsor. Love it. So, and let's just see what's he got on it. So he's got the, yeah, it's Repulsor. So it's like all the toys, all the onslaughts. He's got his killer out.
1 damage.
Heavy Stubber, Ironhill Heavy Stubber, Icarus. Yeah, that's just clicking all the check boxes in Battle Scribe there.
It's just a -2 bolter. That's all it is.
-2 bolter. Well, sweet. Like wounding on 2s for 100 points. Like 5 of those, I'd be like, what the actual fuck?
Used to have something like that, but yeah, not that now.
Cool. And a drop pod with a storm bolter, which the Stern Guard could yes, lad. So, right. Let's just say
What a mad
this.
bastard.
That's so Crimson Fists are slightly different in their chapter tactic, but it's still bolter related. I'm gonna have to start looking this shit up. But anyway, there's a lot of exploding bolter fire shit going on here, and a lot of bolters. It's gonna be naughty. It's the second most shooty army that have, well, it's probably just as shooty as Mal's, if you know what I mean, but just slightly different in profile. All the
Different
rerolls,
type, right?
all the exploding shots. What is the Crimson Fist chapter tactic is something that's just annoying for 9th edition. I can't remember what the fuck that is though.
Let me double check it.
And he's left 5 points in the shelf. Hate to see it. Hate to see it.
It could be a storm bolter on someone.
5 points is like, that's a power sword.
Oh, it's locked apparently. I definitely got the Straightforward Codex, you fucking scumbags.
Intercessor squad right there. 5 points in the shelf. Give that Intercessor Sergeant a power sword. Next time, Sam. Round that shit up.
You love it. Why is that saying it's locked?
Anyway, we'll come back to that, but it's still good. And like, I admire him for, playing his Crimson Fists regardless, and bringing Pedro and all. It's good. I've never played Sam. No, he's in the chat. That's about it. Have you guys played him?
I will if I've never played him actually, but if you need the blade guard, let me know because Al's coming to get some for himself, and I can give you 5 if you are stuck, Mr.
But
Sam.
he's looking forward. He from the chat, and he's looking forward to the game. So
Fucking
it'll
right.
be good. I know he's a bit worried about it. Obviously, this being a tournament, but it'll be good. It's a Marine Army, and it'll be a good learning experience if he hasn't done it before.
Love the name of this list. So we've got Shane Ford. His name's spelled wrong here, though. I'll never get over.
You're talking about El Mondeo there, right?
Yeah, Shane Mondale. So this list called Last Chance for Magnus. You can help me through this. I hate fucking chaos lists. So we've got
Do you know what? There's no,
Thousand
I don't think we
Suns.
need to go through it because
I'll just skim. But like basically Cult of Duplicity, some
Don't need to do it. Just skip it.
well honestly at times a ticking. But
It has Magnus, and then it has some other stuff. So
yeah. The most important thing here is Big Magnus and giving ourselves some time to talk about. We know what the tables are like in ED and they're good. We don't have, not that Magnus could hide behind obscuring anyway. Here's the thing about the terrain though in ED. It's not got windows blocked. It's got plenty of obscuring. There's dense enough tables, but just on the table as it is, those windows are open. Do you know what I mean? Compared to the big L's, WTC table setups, where I think
I have
Magnus has
got good
play.
news. I have got good news for you, good sir.
Yes.
Peter Pratt today took delivery of my WTC terrain, so there will be L's on the board that he can hide behind.
Awesome. So that's great, and I'm glad to see it, because if that's the last chance for Magnus, you would fucking hate to see him getting turn 1 or like what 3 CP to get him into reserve every fucking game just so he could then get in and destroy shit. What else have I got in here?
Well, actually, yeah. He's got Armin on disc, 2 Exalted Sorcerers. One's got the Dark Matter Crystal, which means he can lift a unit turn 1 and drop them down, like the Necrons. He's got a 17-man squad of Rubik Marines with a Spine Sorcerer. He's got a 20-man. He's got. I'm gonna assume that's a 5-man squad of Terminators.
What one was it? The Scarab Occult?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 5. You've got the Sorcerer. You've got 3 combis and the heavy weapons. So
yeah,
5.
yeah. And then it's got a Zangor Shaman for a bit of mortal wound output. And then 2 Zangor Enlightened. I have. Oh, they the
Disc
cavalry
jockey?
guys. Yeah. Disc dudes. Disc jockeys, DJs.
Just DJs just making sweet tunes.
Yep. So you've got
Yeah.
they're on discs. They're fast. And then I know nothing about their stat line. I just know Zangor get about. And so he's got stuff there to play in the mission. He's got shit that'll throw out loads of mortal wounds. Those Rubik Marines, that's a lot of them. When they go 2 wounds and whatever, different world. Yeah, there's the Zangor, but yeah, like I don't know enough to say much more, but I think that if he gets Magnus in to people, you know, because you don't see that many people bring him, he could shock a few people, and especially in the Marines, you know, Magnus will smoke
I
shit.
played Shane last time, and he deep struck Magnus, I believe, and then he brought him down, and he failed the charge. My Land Raider took most of the wounds off him, and then one of my, I think a Librarian with a Stormbolter killed him. Something along those lines. And at this point, Shane was just like, "Fuck me, this is so fucking annoying." At least he changed the list up this time, at least. But
I'm laughing because Shane has sent me a message saying, "I do you guys try and figure out what my list does." But Shane, mate, you don't even know what your fucking list does. So there's no point us trying to break it down.
Well,
I hope it
at
does.
least
That's
it's out of
all.
one fucking codex, which makes a pleasant change for chaos. That's all I'll say.
Chaos.
Right, next.
I hope he does well with it. I hope there's something in there that and it comes out and it has a spin on things. It'd be cool to see.
Like I said, it's fucking Magnus. Fucking Demon Primarch shit going on. And with the line of sight blocking. And fly with those wings. Gonna fuck shit up. Right, next up. My list. Do you want to use one to read it or what?
No, you read it.
Right, I'll fucking do it. So we have...
I don't have the list here. I don't even have them. I don't know where they are.
We got... Starting with 9 CP, which is nice. That was a conscious effort to give myself CP to play with. Start turn 1 with 10. So we have one extra relic with Tempered by Wisdom. That's the one that's going to allow me to take 2 Warlord traits on my Warlord, who is the Primaris Chaplain on bike. We got Recitation of Focus and Canticle of Hate. So that's +1 to hit, +2 on the advance. It's an aura. Chapter Command, Master Sanctity, Litany of Hate, Rites of War on this dude as well. So big base. Tempered by Wisdom for the extra Warlord trait, which is Wise Orator. And he has the Vox. So this guy's just a big, like, rather than being a slap chaplain or whatever, slapling, this guy's just a mobile buffing unit. It's going to be throwing out OBSEC. It's going to be throwing out reroll hits, all hits. It's going to be throwing out +2 on the charge. Popping the +1 to hit when I need to do it. Likely on the Inceptors. And yeah, so it kind of speaks for itself. Big range on the auras there. So 9 inches, 3-inch base, or 9 inches on the other side. Kasaro Khan, he's just a beat stick. Real good beat stick, and +1 to wound aura when he gets into the mixer. Assault Intercessor Squad, just the cheeky fight twice is no joke. And once you get the Assault Doctrine, you know, in later turns in the game, if they're still there, kind of objective monkeys though. Infiltrator Squads, you can screen out about half the table with that. It's quite nice, especially for the backfield. Apothecary, upgraded to Chief Apothecary. Plume of the Plains Runner, that's +1 on the advance and charge. Blade Guard Veterans, we have 3 squads of 4. Got Vanguard Veterans, Lightning Claw Storm Shield across the board. Inceptor Squads, 2x5 with Plasma, and a Whirlwind with Castellan Launcher. The one thing that I was considering was, and like right up to the final submission, rather than taking 3 units of 4 Blade Guard Veterans, can you think about a better way to make that up? Like, it got pointed out to me by a friend, but I hadn't thought about it. 2 squads of 6. And then combat squad them into 4x3. So all of a sudden you're running around with 4x3 Blade Guard squads. And Do you know what I mean? And like, what are you giving up? One attack on a sergeant? You know?
Yeah.
It's pretty, like, I think that would have been good. Stuck with the 3x4 because I've got a specific kind of purpose for them. And when I use them for that purpose, I want them to achieve it. So it's more about just hedging my bets. But I think in future, I'm definitely going to try that shit out. Because why the fuck not?
More scope.
Yeah. So White Scars, advance in charge, fall back in charge, this White Scars thing, +1 damage in the Assault Doctrine. Yeah.
+1 to wound with your boyo.
Kizaru Khan, yep.
Not shit.
I didn't Halsey just say, "Oh, I wish we had +1 to wound," earlier on when he was talking about Blood Angels? Fucking joker.
Yeah. But I have to fucking dive bomb Kizaru Khan in to give myself +1 to wound. It's like one of those things. It's, the way Space Wolves have advance in charge, but it's Nora.
Yeah.
Versus White
Yeah,
Scars just having that everywhere and fall back in charge. It just makes it so much better. It's the same sort of thing when it comes
Someone
to...
say it's easy mode.
That's the thing.
Someone say OP.
Well, I think it's powerful. I think it's powerful.
It
Someone
is.
say top. Someone say
I would say top tier as
topless in
well.
the IDC at the minute.
Top tier, what?
But the thing that's different about that is, like, you've got one White Scars player who is second in the ITC. The person that's top was rocking Sisters and Sally's all year. So just saying. Like, if John's result from last weekend had counted, he would have won the ITC. But that whole fucking drama, don't need to get into. But at the end of the day, below that, it's a bunch of fucking other Marines and like Sally's and stuff especially. It's not a bunch of White Scars players because, like, I'll tell you, it's easy to fuck up your game. Like, you can't just fucking charge the table and win the game with an elite White Scars list. You can do it with a lot of bodies, a lot of bikes, and you can just overwhelm your opponent. If they don't shift you soon enough, you've won. You've won on points. You've won on your secondary. You've won on your primary, and that's how I started off playing White Scars, because I just had a fuckload of foot slogging infantry, and it shocked me because then I got into my third turn, and because the opponent had sort of been like the Necrons with Chris and Paul's Ravenwing, like especially, like they were just the points got away from them so quickly that they had to like force the issue, and then it was turn 3 and I was in the combats that I wanted to be in, and then I was lifting up just 2/3 of their army at that point. Ever since I switched to a more elite sort of meta White Scars list, it's not played out like that at all. It's so fucking different, and like, I guess I can't do it fucking justice explain here all the strategies, but I would say this: if you subscribe to Art of War, the podcast episode 2 that John did, talking about how he plays into the different armies, that sort of just says it all. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, here's an example. I am yet to beat Custodes. Like, played Cal twice, played Richard once there. The way John sort of said that, how he approaches it, it's like he just would like try to keep in touch in the primary for a few turns, and then the late game he's gonna say, I love the late game, Custodes love the late game, but I'm gonna do it better. I guess the part that I've been trying to think about is, alright, I don't have fucking the skills or the experience of that dude. So when he says play it better, it's like, fine, you're out there, you're going to do a lot more damage and you're going to pick shit up. But I really, like, the conclusion I sort of came to on this, like, trying to plan coming into the weekend is, I don't have a lot of units, but I've got more than Custodes, and I've got OBSEC auras, so I need to just, like, this army, like, when I played you in that first game, my problem in that game was I had 5 CP at the end of the game, too many models. Like, my head was up my whole that night, you know all too well. But at the same time, it was your army needs to be disappearing by turn 5, or you haven't used it properly. You know, have enough left in turn 3, but if you're not throwing this army into the mixer, you know, and you're playing for a fucking round 6 that doesn't exist, you're making a mistake. But
Yeah, like, I think what people have to realize, and it's not just for White Scars, it's for every army out there, is the models are actually made to be lifted, right? So what they're trying to do is they're trying to build a list that's got enough efficiency that's going to get to the end of the game with something on the board, and it's about weighing up whether you want to. It's about weighing up whether you're putting the right unit into their unit and getting a good trade back. You know what I mean? In the game that we played, you didn't. You stood off and you gave me too much respect.
Well, that's it. I think
yeah.
You know, I was just like, I had the fear. Even had the fear in the second game we played. To be fair, you know, I was sort of moving away from you in a circle, but we spoke about that, and there's again on the YouTube channel to talk about that one. That was this one. So we can almost just see what happened here. I'll not do it right now.
Just put the link in the,
that's it.
in the
I'll
description.
put the link in the
we'll,
chat, and they can see what I'm talking about here.
There's also lists that are made to be lifted. You know, there's lists there that are made to just go get the points and be lifted off by turn 5, that you only have a unit or 2 units on, but you've actually scored so many more points it doesn't matter now because there's no way that they'll catch you.
I have finished. I think I say out of 15 games I played with Custodes, I think I finished like 7 of them with 3 models, but still won like 96 points because I knew that what I was trading into was going to benefit me in the long run. You know what I mean? That the last 3 units on the board were enough to score me the last amount of points that I needed to win the game. But it just comes with practice and knowing the army and knowing what you're playing into, as well as what you're playing.
Also understanding that your army is a tool you have on the board to win the game. You know what I mean? Whereas some people would be like, "Oh, I don't want to lose my army because I lose." It's like, no, that's not the case.
Well, here
Your army's there to use as a tool to win the game. You know what I mean?
we have one more list after this, so I'm going to ask you a question. You've both played my list, right? How would you play my list if you were the pilot of the list?
Me personally, I would be more aggressive. And I would utilize the fact that you can go into Assault Doctrine before the Assault Doctrine's needed.
So you would choose a
you can
unit
throw
in the
Vanguard
command
vets.
phase. So you would choose a unit in the command phase, say Vanguard Veterans. You would spend 2 CP in say turn 2, and you would say, and they have to be on the table. So you would go, and that's fine. They can move.
I would spend 2 CP in turn 1.
Mm-hmm.
100%. Vanguard Vets would become the White Scars version of the Blood Angels. You're moving D6 plus 1, so you're moving at least 14. And on any board now, that is pretty much like a first turn charge or a first turn wrap on something that somebody's got out, Scabs out front or Nurglings that are out, Infiltrators, whatever. You can go by the board set. Maybe turn 2 is a wee bit better. But
Right, you're cutting out a little bit. So, okay, turn 1, I've got my Vanguard Vets. Like, I'll be honest with you, I'm not thinking about, I want to go out at this stage. Like, if the opponent has went first and they've put something in the middle, and I go, well, I've got a decision to make. It's just like boring 9th edition GT pack shit on the primary. It's like, again, not dissimilar to the old ITC, when you were like, you know, saying, do I want to give up Holdmores? But it's like this. It's like, right, they've put something out there. If I leave that there, that's 5 points or more, 5 to 10 points in the primary they're going to have on their next command phase. How am I going to deal with that? Okay, I can throw something out. Deal with that. Do I need to spend 2 CP to power up Vanguard vets to do that job, and then they're going to get lifted in return? I don't personally think so. In 9
Well, you're
9
gonna
out of 10
you're gonna let's look
cases.
at the list. Let's look at the list you've got here, right?
Okay.
You're playing against Space Marines, you're playing against Custodes, you're playing against Harlequins that have invulns and multiple wounds, right? You need, in my opinion, you want to put those Vanguard vets in. You're getting double damage, re-rolling field wounds against 4 bikes. You lift the 4 bikes. You know what I mean? Like, spending that 2 CP has just killed 400.
But I'd far rather,
But then
not have
not
an
aggressive
equal.
player, though.
But that's the thing. That's an equal points trade. I'd say. In that. Well,
4 bikes for.
what bikes
Vanguard
is he
vets?
talking about? He said Marines, right? So I'm thinking Outriders.
No, Custodes. Custodes.
Oh, Custodes.
Custodes bikes.
Yeah, well, Custodes, yeah, for sure. Like, in that scenario, you want, that's not an uneven trade. That's a positive trade.
No.
And, like, that's going in and
I
doing
know.
2 damage instead of 1, re-rolling the wounds against a toughness 5. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I agree with that. Even better, you could, like, have the Chaplain with his 9-inch aura of re-rolling all hits. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Re-rolling all hits
Okay,
and
they might
wounds.
turn the rerolls off, but you're still getting
Well, yeah, that's it. It's like,
What is
that's
it?
fine.
30 attacks.
But that's the thing about Custodes. You want them to spend that CP. Like, in the first 2 to 3 turns, you want them spending all their CP on defensive strats. And like Mal will tell you in our game, like, wasn't I spending all my CP on defensive strats in those first couple of turns? Like,
You were, yeah.
like a lot of 1 damage weapons, he was shooting into my Gravis stuff when he got angles. Okay, so now they've got a 2-up armor save or a 1-up armor save if they're in cover, because they're getting a +1 because of that Gravis strat. Transhuman in them, for 1 CP now. Like, that's where, put that CP in, because I want to have an army to play the late game with. Like, I think this is a late game army. I don't think, like, your mindset there of, like, throwing that shit out too soon. I'd rather try to shoot shit early doors than necessarily tie too much up into combat, because if I take the board presence in turn 2, this is not a resilient army. This is not a Iron Hands army with fucking Feel No Pain. Like, I've got the Apothecary there, he's giving Feel No Pains in a small bubble.
Right, so you've got the bubble of 6 up in no pain, and you have a 4-up invuln on your Vanguard with a 2-up save, and a 4-up invuln on your Blade Guard with a 2-up save. So
5
you do have
units.
resilient
Well,
armor.
that's 4
It's not
units, but
resilient.
when the
It's
combat
resilient.
squad, then that's 5 units that have that. But my God,
You know what I mean? But it's-
do you really think
It's
that
still
a
resilient.
2-up, 4-up is enough? Like, that if somebody points their shit at one of those units, they're gone. Generally. If they want to lift one of those units, they're gone. If I leave them out in the open in line of sight, you're going to lift more than 1. You're probably going to get 2. If Custodes want to go in with their bikes, they're going to lift them, especially re-rolling with their re-rolls.
So would you rather be charged than charged?
No, you always want to charge. You don't want to be charged.
Yes.
However, that sort of plays into like why I've got the whirlwind there. Because of the fight last, and I was humming and hawing about it, because I dropped it for the
Why
last
don't
few
you take a
games.
duty card?
Because this is a 72-inch range for 1 CP to guarantee it, pretty much. Whereas the Judicar's 3-inch range. So, and if people were going to bring trash to sit in their backfield objectives, like servitors, I can lift that as well with my whirlwind, and that's annoying for them then. It's like all of a sudden it's like, all right, I've now got to go back into my deployment zone and deal with the fact that I have 2 company veterans that are now being chipped away and are gone, or servitors that have been lifted, whatever. So it's got that purpose. It's also got the purpose of before I put the 2 infiltrators in, it was just going to sit in the backfield, do a bit of screening. But for 1 CP, while the going's good, the fight last is the fight last. Before FAQs get applied, which means that the fight last no longer means fight last. It means fight priority in a scenario where you've hit them, you're now in the next turn, and if that unit is in combat, it can't be the first one to pick, which is like, if that was the rule, the rules writer's intention, I'd be fucking shocked. But for now, I've checked it with the TO, like you're supposed to do with all this shit. You know, there's no interrupts on the fight last in this comp, so that's too good to pass up, in my opinion, and that opens up multi-charges for me in a safer way, especially if I want to throw Khan in, or say 2 units of Vanguard veterans. You know, if they interrupt, they're gonna like lift one of them, you know, before it gets to finish off that unit. In this case, if I spend 1 CP, it's not gonna happen. So
We
well,
have
that's kinda it.
another list to do.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Tom
It's
Denton.
full of a took. It's full of a took, Aaron. Sounds like Aaron.
Yeah, it's a Lord of the Rings reference.
He does love Lord of the Rings.
He does, and it's fair enough. Who's reading it?
You go ahead now. You haven't done one.
I haven't got the list up yet.
Well, for fuck's sake.
I'm just here. I'm just here to talk.
Okay, I'll do it. Tom Denton.
Our sister's list.
Bloody Rose. Yep, Bloody Rose Battalion. He's got Celestine and the Triumph of St. Catherine. He has got 3 Battle Sister squads. Pardon me. He has got a Celestine squad of 6. Combi Meltas and Meltas. Combi Melta, Meltagon, yeah. And a Magnifier with the Book of St. Lucius
Good book.
of the Warrior and the Warlord trait of Dominable Belief. Preacher. 2 squads of Repentia. 2 squads of 9 Repentia. 9 Seraphim. And a Dominion squad with Stormbolters and Mortifiers. 3 of them. And a Repentia squad with, or a Retributor squad, sorry, with multi-meltas. And a second squad with heavy flamers. And
I like it. 2 rhinos.
yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, Tom's been buzzing about this list when he fixed my bike. He was up chatting about it, and yeah, it's really cool. I like the Mortifiers are like the mini dreadnought.
Yeah.
They are beastie as fuck. And it's quite similar to Aaron's list, isn't it? Except without a squad of multi-meltas, he's brought a wee mini dreadnought yoke.
You go into combat and slap people up.
Yeah. The St. Catherine thing is a wee bit. It's like a
Gives it miracle
secret
dice.
tech to take Nathan's. It does loads of stuff. It does
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the more you kill him, it takes away an ability.
Mhm.
The
So
boys at the boys at Game Cup Titans had a game there recently, and it was on it, and it was just giving out so much.
that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. There's a lot of things they hit on 2s and then can manipulate miracle dice and
Yeah, it adds 1.
That's
It's
what's
just the one.
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good cheat dice.
Yeah, I like the Retributor squad with heavy flimmers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That busted you. What's
The difference is like the way I sort of like I've not played Sisters other than at the end of the 8th edition, when I was sipping them with knights, but one of the things I liked to do was to make the Retributor squads multi-discipline. So they had Melta, they had the Flame, they had the Heavy Bolter. So I like to mix them up. If as far as I can remember, that gave the ability to do the Holy Trinity thing and stuff. It's just been a while. Like my head's been in another place when it comes to Sisters. I like the rhinos there. I think that the Mortifiers, they're not that resilient, right?
Yeah.
And each of those is going to give up the Bring It Down, and then 2 rhinos. So you've maxed out a secondary there. This is a much less resilient list than
It's only 10 points.
10.
You're gonna get 10
For
points.
two, okay. The
Isn't it? Because Rhinos are 10.
Yeah.
So, or did I give up 3? Sorry, don't they? I give up 3. Sorry, mate.
Okay, so 12, whatever. So there's that. I also look at this list and go, right, this one's way less resilient than Aaron's list. Aaron's list is kind of one of those that it's going to have the firepower, it's going to have enough miracle dice. It's like, don't get me wrong, like Aaron's list is extremely killy, but this one is just like killy sisters on roids. Like the whole thing is just Bloody Rose, and like that's it. The Bloody Rose Boomerang is the name of his list. So that shit's gonna fuck you up.
Yeah.
Right. So here's the thing. What list? If you were playing, Cal, I'll throw this to you, and I'll throw it to Mal, and then I guess we'll start to wrap it up. What list are you most afraid of on the day here? I'll start with
On
you,
the
Cal.
day?
On the day, if you were playing, what list would you be afraid of the most?
I fear no man. No,
I
unless
am
like
no man.
a list that gives me the shits is Shane Ford's list actually hurts me loads. But other than that,
Magnus?
Aaron, yeah, that's just the amount of mortal wounds there. And other than him, Aaron's list gives me the shits. I can deal with Tom's list, but it's the amount of multi-melta shots that Aaron has really fucks me.
Well,
Really
did you play into it before?
I did play into it, but
And-
it came down to I pounded him, but it came down to turn 3. It was really tight till turn 3, and it came down to my 4-ups being better than his 4-ups for 1 turn. And that's all it was. He wounded me he wounded me 7 times with 1 squad on a 5-man squad of bikes, and I saved all 7 of them. And then 3 were pencil lifted a bike, and then in retaliation, then I was just able to clean up.
Who's Surge in the chat? But good point. You say you fear no man, but you're afraid of the
No.
girls.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and what about yourself, Mal?
Haven't read over all the lists, but I'm on maybe the Necron lists. And the sisters, yeah, again the sisters, because they do have a semi amount of shooting. And obsec and stuff. So yeah, I need to go over them and have a look at them here, but yeah, I think it's just obviously I haven't played Necrons too much or sisters, so you don't really know
Yeah, the fear of the
exactly.
unknown.
Yeah, so I'd need to have a look and see about that. So yeah,
I'm gonna say Matt's Harleys are up there for me, and after that, probably Dake's Blood Angels, because they're better in combat than the White Scars, and I don't like fighting things that are better at combat and have the mobility. Not so afraid of the sisters lists, unless I'm on the wrong table, then it's just game over before it even starts. And it's the same with a few of the shooty armies that was sort of highlighted here. Just depends if there's terrain that I can hide in and I can like play hide and seek until it's my time, then I'm not that fussed. But yeah, and like I guess the problem I'm afraid of them all. The Custodes, all of them, don't want to play them. The Necrons, like I've beat Necrons twice. Still, these are different players with different kinds of lists. 2 Catans, that could just fuck me up. Mortal Wounds, I've got the 6-up feeling no pains. What? I'm not going to roll enough fucking 6-ups, am I? Yeah, so that's it, I guess. I'm just, like, I reckon, and like, God's honest truth, no use are joking, but like, I'd be fucking hard pushed to finish top 10 here. Like, that's my feeling. Like, I put it this way, it wouldn't be easy. I don't think anybody on the day is going to have it easy. Like, we've all been through all of the lists now. Like, I'm just saying that. Like, there's no gimmies here.
Look, stop backing out. We know
Backing
you're going to
out
win.
what?
We've tipped you to win. You're going to win. It's fine.
Pete's want to get the fucking trophy, mate.
He's got it
Really
sorted
got
for
me
you.
in, right
He's
done.
not even getting the trophy this time.
Alrighty.
Well, these are crazy if you think that, because I certainly don't think that. Give it a good shot. Right, lads. Well, let's wrap her up. Have you much left to paint then, boys? What are we talking? What's the...
No, I just gotta finishing up.
I painted 4 blade guard while we were on tonight, and 2 eradicators already, done the red on them, but it's just for Mal to take, and they would be fully painted. I don't think I'll have enough time to do the 5 for Sam, but they'll be based and stuff for him, so it should be alright. What do you think about the grey? I don't know if you can see that because I can't see. What do you think about the grey and black shield?
That's a potato camera, mate. Your camera is a potato. I can't see detail, mate. You
That's
can
it.
just about see your face.
Don't worry about that. You're man.
You're mad. Not gonna go on with that joke.
Well,
Like,
here...
I'm the only one allowed.
Well,
Nice
wrap
of
her. Well, we'll wrap her up because, and I must say, throughout the whole fucking hours and hours, I don't even know how long we've been on here. We've had a constant core of about 9 or 10 people for the entire time. So
Well, that's nice.
good on you.
Aren't you guys awesome?
Yes. So I'll wrap it up. Thanks very much, everybody, for watching and listening. Thanks to Pete for being a legend and putting on this tournament. And, thanks for Paul for coming on as a guest. Thanks, Nate, Cal, Mal, legends, laddies.
You.
See you later.
boys.
See you later.
Bye.
Peace.